coming
see
up.
me being,
A
you can't see me,
liberal,
uh-huh.
a liberal, a progressive, a nationalist, and a Pan-Africanist.
Well,
I,
Jesus was black. He was a revolutionary. He was a political activist. And if he were alive today, he'd be a liberal and a Democrat and a progressive. He provided universal health care. He healed the sick. He gave to the poor.
okay,
All of those things that liberals, progressives, and Democrats do.
amazing.
Amazing, truly amazing. Whoever did this to America did an amazingly evil job. Welcome, everybody. My name is Roland, and welcome to another exciting installment of Cultural War. Here, Jesse is going to be interviewing a so-called pastor named Mark Thompson, who's so into his blackness, basically blaming everything on the white people, blaming everything on white supremacy and systemic racism. Meanwhile, being just playing victim and also weaponizing and politicizing, identity politics to fight back and witch hunt the white people. If you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Please hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell to get more videos like this. Let's get straight into the video.
I have with me Mark Thompson. He's back, also known as Reverend Maximella Matfumo.
That's pretty good. That's you pronounced that very well, Jesse.
He's the host of the morning show Make It Plain on Sirius SM Progressive Talk Radio. And
Yes,
I
sir.
wanted to talk to Mark about the president, Black history, men and women, what's going on in the world today. So, Mark, welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Jesse. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.
God bless you and happy Black History Month.
Yeah, thank you. Whatever that is.
It's our history. It's our pride. It's something to be proud of. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for Black History Month and the progress of other black people and our ancestors upon whose shoulders you and I both stand, Jesse.
Amazing. We're going to get to that, but first, oh,
You wild,
God.
man. You wild. Go ahead, bro.
So, Mark, I read that you are a Christian, a liberal slash progressive, a nationalist, and a Pan-Africanist. Is that true? And how is that possible if it's true?
How is it possible for me to be all of those things?
Yes. Is it true, first of all?
Yeah.
And how
Yes.
is that possible to be a Christian and be all those other things? I can see you being those other things, but not a Christian and those things.
You can see me being you can't see me. You
A liberal, a progressive, a nationalist, and a Pan-Africanist.
Well, Jesus was black. He was a revolutionary. He was a political activist. And if he were alive today, he'd be a liberal and a Democrat and a progressive. He provided universal health care. He healed the sick. He gave to the poor.
Okay.
All of those things that liberals, progressives, and Democrats do, Jesus would have done. And he was black. He was an African Hebrew. His family fled to Egypt to hide him from Herod the king, who was killing all of the male children, the firstborn male children, in search of Jesus, killing all of the male children like many of the police do African American young men today.
Well,
that's what Herod was doing.
The one thing
And
I
you
do
can't
want to
hide in
say,
Egypt was black. You can't hide in Egypt, Jesse, and be white.
the one thing I do want to say, if Jesus was black, which he was not, but if he was, he would be all those things you just said, because he would have fallen for the lie that was organized and created by by the so-called civil rights leaders in the Democratic government, the Democrats. So, but you are a Christian and a pastor, right?
I'm not a pastor. No, I don't pastor church. I'm just a minister. I'm an ordained minister. I'm not a pastor of a church. No.
Jesus was a Jew, by the way. He wasn't black. But let me just say,
but the original Jews were black. He was an African Hebrew.
So let me ask, if that
Christianity and Judaism, the great religions, began in Africa.
But let me ask, if that is true, if that is true that Jesus was black, why did most, not all, but why is it that most black Americans have fallen away from God? How do you fall away from God?
Most African Americans are in church every Sunday.
It doesn't mean a thing, though.
Many. Well, but most African Americans have not fallen away from God. I don't know I don't know how you can even say something like that when you have evangelicals running around supporting sexual predators like Donald Trump and Roy Moore. It seems like white evangelicals.
What does that have to do with black
who
people?
support sexual predators are the ones that have fallen away
What
from
does
God.
that have to do with black people? Falling away from God and Jesus being black.
African American Christians stopped the sexual predator Roy Moore in Alabama.
Let me
Not
ask,
white Christians, black Christians.
Let me ask, you're deviating from my question. If it's
I'm
true,
just showing we haven't fallen away. I mean, I'm not. Give me an example of how we've fallen away.
According to the Washington Examiner, black women who are born in America, 77% of the children are born out of wedlock.
Well, that's an old. You all been saying that for the past 40 years. Y'all have to update that percentage. I don't even think.
No, that's
true.
a higher percentage. I thought it was going down. But it's gone up. And the other thing,
how many white children? How many white children?
Why are you asking about white people? We're talking about black folks.
Because we're all human beings. We're all the same. So you can't single out black people as having some inherent pathology when others have some of the same issues. The family structures change. People don't get married anymore to have children, Jesse.
But blacks are leading the way in having these babies out of wedlock, and you said Jesus was black. But let me ask, if black people are children of God, and Jesus was black, and Christianity started in Africa, why did Christianity flee Africa?
What do you mean?
Christianity is not in Africa. I mean, it's there now because white Americans and along with some other black people took it back. But if Jesus was black, why didn't Christianity stay in Africa?
Right,
why is it not predominant in Africa?
Let me ask you a question. First of all, Africa is a continent. It is vast, not a country. Donald Trump thinks it's a country. And many people think it's a country. It is vast. So many religions and forms of spirituality, modes of spirituality originated in Africa, one of which was Christianity. When the Europeans discovered Africa, the Greeks in particular, they came to Africa.
No, because of time. Tell me why. It's short because we don't have a lot of time.
Okay, I'll be quick. The monotheism and form of Christianity that was birthed in Africa was stolen by the Europeans and repackaged and then used to come back to Africa and oppress us.
Amazing.
I am amazing.
You know. as long as most black Americans protect their weakness by blaming other people and accusing other people, not going to get anywhere. You got to take responsibility. But let me ask, this is Black History Month. Should we teach Black History Month or American history?
Black history is American history.
Should we teach Black History Month or American history?
Black history is American history.
And what do you mean by that?
That means that we have to include in American history the contributions of African Americans to that history. And all we do is set aside 1 month for people to give special attention to African American history.
Amazing.
Every other month is white history. We talk about white folks' history all the time. We're going to talk about black history this month.
What's white history? What is white history?
Everything that isn't black.
Like what, for example?
George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, like as if they were the only ones that contributed to building this country.
You're right in that Black history is American history, but why call it Black history and why set aside 1 month? Why not just incorporate the events or whatever blacks did to make this help make this country great, and just let it be a part of the American history? Why call it Black history and separate yourself from the rest of the folks?
Well, it's a both and, not an either or. It should be a year-round observance, and it should be incorporated. However,
But we shouldn't observe it. We should just teach it in schools.
well, we have
as
to
though-
observe it, Jesse, because that's a part of the history. Dr. Carter G. Woodson developed Negro History Week in the early 1900s. It expanded into Black History Month, and it was necessary because we weren't incorporated.
But when when were you people
And we
let
still
this-
aren't to a large extent. There's no desire for us to be incorporated in many of the curricula around the country. There's still a big fight about that. I mean, we have to not only be incorporated, but we need to honor the memory of Dr. Carter G. Woodson, who picked this month to coincide with Frederick Douglass's birthday. Honor the memory of Frederick Douglass's birthday.
Let me ask.
You and I would not be free without them. And honor this month and keep it alive.
Who is excluding the blacks from American history?
Most textbooks do.
Who are they? Who is doing this though?
The publishers, those who write the curricula in our public schools and in our institutions
Are
of
you
higher
just
learning.
saying that? Where's your proof? You're just saying that. Where's your proof?
Well,
that
well,
in 2018,
Here's the proof.
Americans, real Americans, are trying to, or deliberately trying to exclude black Americans who contribute to making this country great from black history. Where is your proof of that?
Much of the curricula focuses on one speech by one man, the great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I Have a Dream speech, but it does not go into depth in terms of the contributions of black history to the building of America. How many of your listeners know the name of the first person to give their life in the Revolutionary War?
That's because it's not being included. No, I don't. It's because
that's what I'm saying. So that's me. That's why you need Black History Month. It was Crispus Attucks. The first man to fall in the Revolutionary War was a black man, Crispus Attucks.
My point is not that. My point is rather than you people fighting for separation by calling things
that's
calling things black.
I just included you. I just brought you into me. I included you.
Hold on, let me make this point.
Now you know
rather than calling it Black history and all that, or fighting for the black stuff, why not just fight to make sure that the history of Black America who contribute to this country in a good way is just added in the books? You're fighting for Black History Month. You're fighting for Black History.
We're going to do both. We do both.
I learned about George Washington Carver, Booker T. Washington, and others when I was in school. It was naturally taught. And I also learned about that sellout communist, W.E.B. Du Bois, who was a far left liberal socialist who wanted to do all the thinking along with the so-called talented or whatever they call themselves. They wanted to be the thinkers of black folks. And when it didn't work out very well for him, he moved to Africa and denounced his citizenship here in this country. And I guess he died over there. I learned that in school. The guy was a hater. And so if W.B. Du Bois was not a hater. No, he was an evil hater.
He was not an evil hater. He was the first black PhD to graduate from Harvard. He attended Fisk University.
That doesn't mean that he's not a hater.
No, he was not a hater. As a matter of fact,
like Obama is a hater.
Who?
Obama, the fallen Messiah.
He was not a hater. As a matter of fact, to be honest with you, the full history is prior to him leaving to go to Africa, W.B. Du Bois worked with the United States government and the U.S. Army.
He was a wicked man.
In the U.S., he worked with the U.S. Army in particular.
I got 5 minutes with you
dealing with the black community, and that's one of his unfortunate contradictions.
Let me ask you this, Mark: are you proud, as I am, of that home run State of the Union address that the Great White Hope President Donald Trump gave the other night? Are you?
I understand you. In bad connection, you were breaking up. I don't understand what you said. What?
Are you?
The what? You sound like you said a home run State of the Union address. I don't know.
Yes, a slam dunk.
You're the only person still talking about
Michael Jordan.
you're the only person still talking about that right now, because most people are now talking about the memo that
Kobe
Devin
Bryant
Nunes has written to help him obstruct justice. They're talking
let me
about
ask. I'm asking about that
Hope Hicks
because of
obstructing
time.
justice.
Look, you keep
That was
deviating
not
from
a
the
home run. It
subject.
was horrible.
You deviated from the subject. Were you proud of the? Were you proud of the great speech? I think
No,
it's going to go down in
awful.
history as one of the best State of the Union address any
No State of
president
the Union
have
ever
ever
goes
given.
down in history, Jesse. You can name another State of the Union speech by any other president.
Well, to
They
start
down the
with
vine.
him.
That's not the nature of State of the Union speeches. Come on, man.
We're to start with Donald Trump. But were you
Oh,
proud
okay.
of what he?
No.
How
No.
about his accomplishments in the first year of being in office?
He hasn't accomplished anything but give a tax break to his rich friends. And Jesse, I hope all this dancing you're doing for him, they hook you up and give you all these people leaving Congress to go get one of those golden parachute jobs from that tax bill. Hope they look out for you too, brother Jesse, and get you some money.
I've already seen more in my paycheck already.
No, I'm talking about one of those jobs Trey Gowdy and the rest of them going to get, man.
I don't
Tell me you got one of those jobs.
I don't want one of those
hope
jobs.
it's worth it.
I don't want one of those jobs. So
we need to talk offline, brother. You need to get
get
hooked up.
My employees,
you do a lot of work for them.
Listen,
you carry a lot of water for them.
Because of the Great White Hope, my employees and I received an increase in our paycheck past Friday.
Hey, employees, when you want to go get one of those big tax break jobs from one of those big companies on Wall Street, I bet I can see your employees right now. They hear me.
Are you happy that the Great White Hope cut regulations and restrictions so that small businesses can start up again and big businesses can come back into the country due to the tax break and all that?
Well, that's not exactly what's going on. Of course, I support small businesses and I support business coming back into the country. But rarely do these tax breaks trickle down in the way that
it's already happening.
No, it's not. It's not happening.
How about?
And in the long run, people are going to have to pay even more money. This is going to create debt and deficit. The very same
You're
debt
making
and deficit
this up. But let me
you
ask.
all attack Barack Obama for and blame him for creating.
A
you want to
bad
create
president.
the same thing to help out his rich friends.
Obama going down in history as the worst, most hated president this country has ever experienced. But let me ask. Are you happy because of the
He's loved. People wish he would come back and be the president.
Of course.
Jesse, why don't you be black just for this 1 month? Black History Month for these 28 days, the shortest month of the year. Be black for 28 days, Jesse. Come on, man. Come on. It's all right.
Mark, why? How come? Well, I know why. Because most black people are angry. It's so easy to tell them a lie and they believe it.
No, that's not true.
It is.
We're not angry. We're loving people.
Well, what's happening?
God's people. The people of God.
If blacks are loving people, why are the black killing each other in the hoods around the country?
Well, because those whom you allow with deliver illegal guns and drugs in our community and no job.
Mark, thank you so much, man. I enjoyed talking to you.